For decades, the heartbeat of New York City echoed through its office towers. Every morning, rivers of workers poured into Manhattan, hundreds of thousands of footsteps converging on canyons of glass and steel. Inside, fluorescent lights flickered on. Elevators hummed, phones rang, deals were struck. It was motion, energy, routine, the city at work. But in early 2020, that rhythm shattered. The pandemic didn't just empty the streets, it rewired the meaning of work itself. What was meant to be a temporary lockdown stretched into months, then years of remote routines. The desks stayed, the chairs stayed, but the people didn't come back. The sound that defined Manhattan, the hum of business, was replaced by silence. Coffee carts vanished. Subway rush hour thinned. Buildings that once symbolized power and ambition began to look like relics of a past world. By 2023, a new reality had taken hold. Work from home wasn't an exception, it was the expectation. And in the city that measures success by occupancy, vacancy became the new epidemic. Towers that once competed for prestige were now competing for tenants. The skyline hasn't changed, but the purpose behind it has. And as remote work reshapes how people live and where companies invest, a silent crisis has begun, one that threatens the very foundations of New York's commercial heart. At first glance, it's easy to blame the pandemic. But the truth runs deeper. What New York's office market faces today isn't just a temporary shock. It's a structural transformation, a perfect storm years in the making. Across the city, vacancy rates have climbed to levels unseen in modern history. By early 2025, Manhattan's available office space exceeded 90 million square feet, enough to fill more than 30 Empire State Buildings. Older properties, especially those built before the 1992nd, are suffering the most. Their floor plates are deep, their systems outdated, their elevators slow, and their energy performance poor. Meanwhile, companies that once leased 10 floors now need only 2. Hybrid work has made every unused desk a liability, every empty conference room a silent cost. Some tenants have abandoned entire floors mid-lease, subletting at a fraction of the rent if they can find anyone willing to take them. The problem isn't that demand has disappeared, it's that demand has changed shape. Modern firms want flexible space, natural light, wellness features, and short commitments. That leaves legacy towers stranded in time, too costly to retrofit, too outdated to compete. And the ripple effect doesn't stop at landlords. Lenders are tightening credit. Property tax assessments are falling. Even city budgets feel the strain. What began as a health crisis has become an identity crisis. The very buildings that once defined New York's ambition now question their own purpose. Numbers tell the story of a market caught between survival and reinvention. Before the pandemic, New York's office vacancy rate hovered near 10%, tight enough to make developers confident and investors bold. By 2025, that number had ballooned to more than 18% citywide, with some neighborhoods crossing the 20% line. In total, nearly 1 in every 5 offices in Manhattan now sits empty. Behind these averages lies a tale of 2 markets. The gleaming Class A towers of Hudson Yards and Midtown East still draw tenants with deep pockets and flexible policies. But the older, less efficient buildings, the Class B and C stock that forms the backbone of the city's office inventory, are the ones bleeding. Many of them face vacancy rates above 30%. their rents slashed, their future uncertain. Average asking rents have dropped, but not enough to lure tenants back in droves. In 2019, a square foot in Manhattan averaged close to $60. Today, it hovers around $50. Landlords may trim the price, but for companies still cutting costs and downsizing, even a discount can feel like a burden. The pain is uneven. Downtown has been hit hardest, where towers built for 1,980 seconds finance now struggle to attract 2,020 second startups. Midtown South shows signs of resilience, driven by tech and media firms that value proximity to transit and a younger workforce. Brooklyn, once seen as the frontier of creative office space, has also stumbled. Vacancy there has climbed above 25%. Behind each data point stands a silent building, an empty lobby, a darkened floor, a landlord calculating how long they can hold on. The numbers are not just statistics. They are the pulse of a market still searching for a heartbeat. The crisis has not struck evenly. In this new reality, there are winners and there are clear losers. The winners are the buildings that understood evolution before it became survival. The glass towers of Hudson Yards, One Vanderbilt, and Manhattan West stand as symbols of adaptation. Their lobbies gleam with light. Their air systems are clean and efficient, and their amenities blur the line between office and luxury. These are not workplaces. They are ecosystems designed to lure employees back with wellness centers, rooftop terraces, and cafes that rival five-star hotels. Companies seeking prestige or trying to convince workers to return to the office choose these spaces. For them, a premium address is worth the premium price. Then there are the others, the towers left behind by time. The Class B and C buildings that once served the financial firms of the 1,980 seconds and 1,990 seconds now face an uncertain fate. Their mechanical systems are old, their layouts rigid, their energy use inefficient. Once filled with thousands of employees, they now echo with emptiness. In some, entire floors have gone dark. Landlords are forced to make impossible choices. Lower the rent and bleed cash, or invest millions to modernize with no guarantee of tenants. Many are doing both, gambling that the next lease will save them from default. The divide grows sharper with every quarter. The strong become stronger, filling their spaces with elite tenants and long-term commitments. The weak slip further into vacancy, where each empty floor erodes property value, weakens loans, and threatens the city's tax base. It's a tale of two skylines, one shining with renewal, the other fading behind dusty blinds. The crisis inside New York's office towers doesn't stay contained within their walls. Its effects ripple outward, touching businesses, neighborhoods, and the city itself. When offices empty, so do the streets around them. The lunchtime crowds that once kept delis, coffee shops, and salad bars alive have vanished. In Midtown and the financial district, small businesses that depended on office workers are closing one by one. Every darkened storefront tells a story. A restaurant that used to serve 500 lunches a day now struggles to sell 50. Dry cleaners, newsstands, and shoe repair shops, once fixtures of office life, are fading into memory. The pain extends upward. Ground floor retail leases in office buildings, once prized for steady traffic, now struggle to find tenants. A tower with empty upper floors becomes a magnet for decline, not activity. The drop in occupancy lowers rents, and with them, the building's assessed value. That hits the city directly. Office properties make up roughly a fifth of New York's property tax revenue. When those valuations fall, so does the funding for public schools, transit, and sanitation. City economists estimate the loss could exceed $1 billion in annual tax revenue if vacancy rates remain high. That shortfall doesn't just mean fewer dollars in the budget, it means fewer options for the city to recover. And then come the lenders. Buildings financed during the boom years now face refinancing at much higher interest rates. For some owners, the math no longer works. They hand the keys back to the bank, leaving yet another property in limbo. What began as an office problem has become a city-wide challenge. The crisis has seeped into the streets, the shops, and even the city's finances. In New York, empty offices don't just mean lost rent, they mean lost life. In a city built on reinvention, survival often means transformation. Faced with shrinking demand and growing vacancy, New York's office towers are beginning to change shape, literally. The new buzzword across real estate circles is conversion. Developers and city planners are looking at these half-empty monoliths and asking a daring question: what if they weren't offices at all? Some of Manhattan's most ambitious projects are already answering it. Old office towers in the financial district are being stripped down and reborn as residential buildings. At 25 Water Street, one of the largest conversions in U.S. history, over 1 million square feet of outdated office space is being turned into apartments. Similar projects are underway on Wall Street, in Midtown, and near Bryant Park. For city officials, this shift brings hope and hard reality. The demand for housing in New York has never disappeared. Every year, tens of thousands of people look for apartments the city doesn't have. Converting empty offices into homes seems like the perfect solution. More housing, fewer vacancies, renewed life in silent districts. But conversion is no easy fix. Many office towers were never designed for living. Their deep, dark floor plates make it hard to carve out apartments with windows. Their plumbing systems and mechanical cores were built for cubicles, not kitchens. The cost of gutting and rebuilding can reach staggering levels, sometimes higher than constructing a new building from scratch. Still, the movement is growing. With state incentives and relaxed zoning rules, developers are rushing to file conversion plans. Some buildings will emerge as residential towers. Others may blend use as hotels, co-working hubs, or mixed-use complexes that keep the lights on day and night. The era of the single-purpose office tower is ending. New York's skyline may look the same from a distance, but up close, its buildings are being rewritten one conversion at a time. Behind every empty office lies a human story, thousands of them, in fact. The crisis may be built from numbers and square feet, but its impact is written on the faces of the people who once gave these buildings purpose. For the office workers, life has shifted beyond recognition. The morning commute, once a daily ritual through crowded subway platforms and steaming coffee lines, has been replaced by laptops on kitchen tables. Many never return to their desks. Some now live hundreds of miles away, working remotely for a company still paying New York rent. Others come into the city only a few days a week, leaving floors half full and hallways half lit. The building staff, doormen, janitors, maintenance crews, and security guards feel the emptiness more personally. Their routines were built around people. With fewer workers to greet, fewer lights to turn on, and fewer offices to clean, many have seen hours cut or jobs lost entirely. A quiet lobby means a quiet paycheck. Landlords are caught between fear and denial. Many spent decades treating their towers as permanent assets, steady and predictable. Now, they negotiate with tenants who hold all the power. Lease renewals are shorter, rent concessions larger, and every phone call from a bank feels heavier. Some owners have defaulted, others cling to hope, waiting for a corporate rebound that may never come. City officials walk a different tightrope. They must keep the tax base alive while preventing entire districts from hollowing out. They hold meetings, announce incentives, and push conversion plans. But the scale of the problem is overwhelming. The city's skyline, once a symbol of unstoppable ambition, has become a test of leadership. This is not just a story about buildings. It's about the people who filled them, the livelihoods they supported, and the new reality they now face. A city learning to live with less motion, less noise, and a different idea of what going to work means. The question now haunting every boardroom, every planning office, and every lender's desk is the same. What comes next? For some, the answer is recovery. They believe the pendulum will swing back, that people will eventually tire of working in isolation and rediscover the value of collaboration, of physical presence, of the spark that only happens face to face. Already, certain sectors are showing flickers of life. Manhattan's leasing activity rose sharply in early 2025, with major corporations securing long-term commitments in premium spaces. These deals hint at a rebound, not universal, but symbolic. For others, the future lies in reinvention. The office, they argue, is not dying, it's evolving. The workplace of the future isn't about cubicles or corner offices, but about connection, creativity, and flexibility. Spaces once rigidly divided into departments may soon resemble social hubs, event venues, or hybrid co-working communities. Some developers are experimenting with modular layouts, turning traditional offices into adaptive spaces that shift by the day or even by the hour. And then there are the realists, those who quietly admit that some parts of the market may never recover. They see a city overbuilt for an era that's gone. They talk about repurposing, about turning outdated office blocks into universities, data centers, studios, or healthcare facilities. They see opportunity and loss, but also limits. Projections from analysts suggest that even by the end of the decade, vacancy rates could remain above 18%, nearly double the pre-pandemic average. That means the pain isn't temporary, it's structural. The question is not when the market will bounce back, but how it will adapt. New York has faced crises before: financial crashes, blackouts, terror attacks, pandemics, and each time it has found a way to transform rather than collapse. This one is no different. The shape of the skyline will remain, but what happens inside those towers will define the city's next era. Every crisis rearranges the balance of power, and New York's office reckoning is no exception. Behind the headlines and statistics are three groups standing at the center of this storm: investors, tenants, and the city itself, each facing a different version of the same question: how to adapt before it's too late. For investors and building owners, the old playbook no longer works. Office real estate was once considered one of the safest bets in the world. Predictable rent, steady tenants, stable returns. Now, it's a high-risk equation. Property values for some mid-tier buildings have dropped by more than 40%, erasing billions in equity. Refinancing is treacherous, with interest rates far higher than they were when these towers were last appraised. Lenders are demanding more guarantees, more transparency, and in some cases, walking away entirely. A building without tenants isn't just an empty space, it's a ticking financial liability. Tenants, meanwhile, have never had more leverage. Companies now approach office space the way consumers approach streaming subscriptions. Flexible, short-term, easy to cancel. They negotiate shorter leases, better amenities, and lower rents. The power dynamic has flipped. Landlords are selling, and tenants are buying only when it suits them. For small businesses, this shift has opened doors that were once closed. For major corporations, it's a chance to redesign their footprint for the hybrid age. And then there's the city, the ultimate stakeholder. New York's budget depends heavily on property taxes from office towers, which once funded everything from schools to public transportation. As values fall, the fiscal strain deepens. The city must now choose between austerity, reform, or reinvention. Some policymakers see the crisis as an opportunity to reimagine Midtown and the financial district as vibrant mixed-use neighborhoods instead of 9-to-5 ghost towns. Others worry the transition will take too long, that the city's golden goose is bleeding faster than it can heal. One thing is certain. The old order has collapsed. The next chapter of New York's real estate will belong to those who can see beyond the skyline and imagine what these buildings can become. New York has always been a city built on motion, a place where progress is loud, fast, and relentless. But for the first time in living memory, its towers stand still. The hum of elevators, the echo of footsteps, the rush of ambition, all replaced by a quieter question that no one seems able to answer. What are these buildings for now? The office crisis is not merely an economic event. It's a cultural reckoning. For more than a century, the skyscraper was New York's ultimate symbol, the physical manifestation of human ambition. To work in one was to be part of the city's heartbeat, to climb upward floor by floor into its promise. When that rhythm stopped, something deeper was lost than just rent checks and leases. The towers that once embodied progress now mirror uncertainty, and the skyline that once stood for unstoppable growth now tells a story of adaptation. Yet, within this uncertainty lies a strange kind of hope. New York has fallen before, and every time, it's rewritten itself. When factories left in the 1,970 seconds, Soho became art studios. When crime and flight hollowed out the city in the 1,980 seconds, new waves of creators, immigrants, and entrepreneurs moved in. When the attacks of 9/11 scarred the financial district, the city rebuilt taller, stronger, more determined. This moment, too, will find its next chapter. The question is not whether New York will recover, but what form that recovery will take. Will these empty towers become homes, schools, tech labs, or something entirely new? Will they once again fill with light and life, or remain as silent monuments to a way of working that no longer exists? Perhaps the real legacy of this crisis will not be in the buildings themselves, but in the way the city learns to use them differently. Because in New York, change isn't the enemy, it's the engine. And as the skyline glows at dusk, its windows half lit, it whispers the same message it always has. The city endures, even when its towers don't.